Here's Brody Brazil.
There's really only one negative about the new voicemail line at 8334-BRODY, and that's the fact that I can't possibly use every single message that gets left. However, I do listen to every single one, and then I get to play back and respond to the very best ones.
Hi, Brody. This is Kyle from outside of Philadelphia. I was watching some random college football games yesterday, and I noticed I'm seeing more and more players with the C designation for captain on their jersey, and it got me thinking. I'm a big hockey guy. I know you are too.
Yes, sir.
And with the Florida Panthers losing Sasha Barkov for the year, that's a huge loss, not only as a player,
right,
but as a captain in their leadership group. And I wanted to know if you could talk about the captaincy and even the alternate captains in hockey, and what makes that unique versus, they say Derek Jeter was the captain of the Yankees and things like that. But I think it's much more relevant and important specifically in the sport of hockey. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Love the channel. Thanks, Brody. Bye.
Hey, Kyle, thanks for calling in. That's such a great topic. It's such a great starting point for this conversation. And I do fully agree with you. There's no disconnection here. Hockey captaincies are different than in any other sport. And sometimes you'll see it on a baseball jersey, but very rarely. I feel like there used to be more basketball captains in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up. Are there even any today? Maybe sometimes they don't physically wear a C. They're just known as the team captain, but there's no actual designation. In football, there's 3 or 4 players that have a C sewn onto their jersey. So it's a lot different in hockey versus anything else. Let me talk about hockey first, and then maybe we can make the comparisons to the other sports. When you're a hockey captain, and the tradition is, right, every team has a captain. Now, some teams don't have a captain, but that's only because they just don't have the right person yet, or the scenario doesn't dictate it yet. Most teams, most seasons have a captain. It's basically to say that if you don't have a captain right now, it's only a matter of time until the right player earns it, or somebody comes into the team that fits that role. Every team, I feel is trying to get to a captaincy situation at some point. But at the very least, if there's no captain, there's definitely 3 or 4 players that wear an A for alternate also on their sweater. But the captain in hockey is the conduit, the main conduit to the media, to fans, to coaches, and everybody else that needs to represent that player group. Now, it's also usually a leadership group. We hear that quite often. So the captain is the default leader, but there's also that core of usually 3 to 4 total players who have a lot to say. And when I'm telling you that the captain is a conduit to the coaches, what do I mean by that? There's a lot of days in the NHL where practice is scheduled and it's late in the season. It's mid-March. And this group, all they really need is a day off. They're burnt out. And so you know who the player is that goes to the coach and says, hey, coach, got to speak for the guys here on the team. They could use a day off. It's the captain. The captain represents, like I said, the players and the team and the franchise, whether it's to the media, to the fans, to the coaching staff, or whoever. But the captain, technically and legally within the rules of the NHL, the captain is the only player for their team who can have a conversation with the referees about the rules and about calls and not get disciplined for it. Technically, if you're not the captain and you approach the referee, number one, they're probably going to tell you to get lost. But number two, there could be discipline and ramifications that come from that. So that's what makes a captain different in hockey, basically right there. I also think it's a pretty safe generalization to make that hockey captains definitely set the tone, not only for their team group, like all the players who put on a jersey, but also that small leadership group and core. The captain is the one who dictates, hey, here's how we handle situations, here's our tone, here's our approach, here's our messaging, here's our delivery. And look, a lot of NHL teams have similar captains. They speak with their actions, they speak with their play, they're very respectful. You don't see a lot of trash talk and back and forth between media sessions of teams because the captains really rein things in. They keep it very much inside the room. They'd rather speak with a win and 2 points rather than a quote that's going to end up on the other team's corkboard, right? So captains really try and level the group out. During highs, they bring them back down, and during lows, they try and bring them back up. The captain definitely sets the tone. And most captains will also very much defer to the leadership group. They don't want to do all the interviews. They don't want to make all the statements. They know that they're ultimately at the helm of this ship. Like, they've got the wheel in front of them with the captaincy, but they also want to make sure that all their alternates feel respected and used as well, too. Look, hockey teams have only one captain. I mentioned before that NFL teams have a lot of players that wear that C. I think college football, we're starting to see more than that, or more than just the one. And baseball and basketball, I kind of wish they would have captains. I think baseball would be a more fun sport if we knew who the team captain was. And if that person was largely responsible for post-game media sessions after every single game or when it made sense. Same thing with the NBA. And again, we know who the leaders are. Like, in the NBA, you can look at any team's roster and say, I know who your leader is, or I know who your leaders might be. But in hockey, you not only know who the leaders are, but you also know who the captain is. And that captain is likely one of the same people you thought was a leader. Sometimes maybe you were wrong, though. Only the group gets to decide, and that's why it's so important when you name a hockey captain, you name the right person, you name the long-term person, you name somebody that's going to fit and reflect your group for the very long term. You do not want to go around changing captains every single season, and quite honestly, not too many teams end up doing that. I'd like to see more captains mean a lot more to their teams and sports across the sporting landscape, but it's interesting that hockey captaincy matters so much more. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Also, thumbs up no matter what down there helps me, the video, and the channel. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you back here next time.